Welcome to the Prescott Lab podcast, not just theory, practical science for everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, and tonight I want to begin with a truth too many men keep hidden. Gentlemen after 60, I know many of you have felt it, that quiet decline. Nights that once ended with fire now end with frustration. Desire is still alive, but the body does not respond. Energy drains too soon. Sleep refuses to restore you. And perhaps worst of all, the confidence that once defined you begins to feel fragile. I've sat with men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, men who whispered with embarrassment, "Doctor, am I finished?" And every time I tell them the same thing, decline is not destiny. Your body is not broken. It is waiting for a spark, a wiser way to be cared for. And here's the paradox. Alcohol in excess destroys men, weakens erections, lowers testosterone, and shatters sleep. Yet, one single glass of the right red wine, taken at the right time, can do the opposite. It can open your blood vessels, calm your nerves, guide you into deeper rest, and reignite the very strength you thought was gone. Now, before we dive into the science, let me pause and speak to you directly. If you want more content like this, truth spoken openly, without shame, I need you to interact. Hit that like button. Why? Because when you do, it tells the algorithm that men's health matters, that the struggles of men over 60 should not be buried in silence. It helps more men like you find this message, men who may be sitting alone tonight thinking they are broken. And in the comments, I want you to be part of this community. If you are willing to try one glass of red wine before bed to test this ritual for yourself, type 1 below. If you're skeptical, type 0 and tell me why. I read every response, and your words guide the advice I share here. Think of it this way, every like, every comment is not just digital noise. It is a signal, proof that you are not alone in this fight, proof that together we can rebuild vitality and dignity one step at a time. So stay with me, because in the next part, I'll show you why erections weaken after 60 and why it's not your fault. Once you understand that, you'll see why a single glass of red wine may be the spark your body has been waiting for. Why erections weaken after 60. I remember a patient named Harold, 67 years old, a retired firefighter from Ohio. He sat in my office one afternoon, his hands rough from decades of work, but his voice trembling. "Doctor," he said quietly, "I still love my wife. I still feel the desire. But when the moment comes, my body just won't answer. I don't understand. Am I losing myself as a man?" That sadness in Harold's eyes is one I've seen too many times. And I always lean in and tell the truth most men never hear. It is not your fault. Age changes the body in ways no one warns you about. Here's what really happens after 60. Your blood vessels, the same ones that once carried strong, youthful flow into every part of your body, begin to stiffen and narrow. Erections are not about willpower. They are about hydraulics. Blood in, blood trapped, firmness held. But when the pipes stiffen, the pressure fails. Inside the penis, the smooth muscle that normally traps blood weakens too. That means even when blood enters, it slips away too soon. Desire is there, but firmness fades. And then there's testosterone, the life force hormone of a man. Every year after midlife, it declines steadily. Testosterone is not just about libido. It drives energy, motivation, even the spark in your eyes. When it falls too low, erections weaken. Mornings feel heavy, sleep grows restless. One patient once described it perfectly. "Doc, it's like the lights are still on in the house, but the power running through the wires isn't strong enough to keep it alive." That is the quiet truth of aging, not a sudden collapse, but a slow dimming. But here's what I want you to remember. Your body is not broken. The machinery is still there. The wiring is still in place. It just needs the right spark to awaken again. And gentlemen, that's where the story takes a fascinating turn, because sometimes that spark doesn't come from a pill or a shot or a surgery. Sometimes it comes from something as ordinary as a single glass of red wine taken with wisdom. Now, before I move on, let me ask you, have you noticed these changes in your own body, the fatigue, the restless nights, the weaker response when desire is still alive in your heart? If so, type YES in the comments. As if you've been fortunate enough not to experience it yet, type no. Either way, your answer matters because it helps other men know they are not suffering alone. Gentlemen, once you understand why erections weaken after 60, you begin to see the bigger truth. Decline is not destiny. It is simply a problem waiting for a solution. And that solution lies in the chemistry of your blood, in one tiny molecule most men have never heard of, but without which no man can perform. That's where we're heading next. The science of blood flow and nitric oxide. I remember a man named Edward, 69, a retired engineer. He came to me one afternoon, frustration written all over his face. "Doc," he said, "I still feel the desire in my head. I still think about my wife the way I used to, but nothing happens down there. It's like the signal never arrives." I told him the truth most men are never taught. "Edward, the problem isn't in your mind, it's in your blood vessels." Because an erection is not magic, it is not even just romance. It is blood rushing in, filling chambers, staying trapped long enough for intimacy. Without blood, there is no firmness, no strength, no confidence. And the center of that process is a tiny messenger called nitric oxide. When you were young, your body produced it easily, almost effortlessly. The moment your brain felt desire, nitric oxide whispered to your arteries, "Relax, open wide. Let blood flow in." And within seconds, your body responded. But after 60, the story changes. The lining of your blood vessels, what we call the endothelium, grows weaker. Your arteries stiffen. Nitric oxide production drops sharply. The signal that once traveled instantly now fades like a weak radio broadcast, never reaching the place where it's needed most. That's why so many men like Edward come to me confused. They think their desire is gone. But in reality, it isn't desire that's missing, it's blood. The switch is still there. The current just isn't strong enough. And here is the hopeful truth. Even at your age, your body can relearn how to release nitric oxide. The system is not dead, it is only sleeping. It only needs the right spark to wake it up again. Now, before we move forward, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt that same frustration Edward described, desire alive in your mind, but your body refusing to follow? If yes, type YES in the comments. If not, type no and maybe share what you think has helped you hold on to your strength. Your answers don't just help me, they help other men realize they are not alone. Gentlemen, this is where red wine steps into the picture. Because hidden inside that single glass are compounds that nudge the endothelium back to life, pushing it to release nitric oxide and restore blood flow where it belongs. It's not a miracle, but it is science. And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next part. The secret compounds in red wine. When most people look at a glass of red wine, they see a drink, a small pleasure to close the day. But in my clinic, I've learned to see it differently. To me, a single glass of red wine is closer to liquid medicine, a natural formula crafted over centuries, holding secrets hidden in the skin of the grape. Inside that glass are compounds powerful enough to influence how an older man's body works. The first is resveratrol. This is not just another antioxidant. Resveratrol reaches deep into your cells, switching on what scientists call longevity pathways. It helps keep your arteries young and flexible even as the years pass. For a man over 60, that means blood can flow more freely, and freer blood flow means firmer erections. Resveratrol also communicates with your brain, gently balancing the chemicals that control sleep. That's why one glass before bed doesn't only touch intimacy, it guides you toward deeper rest, which allows testosterone to rise and energy to return. Alongside resveratrol are flavonoids and polyphenols. These quiet protectors fight inflammation, defend your heart, and shield your brain. They are guardians working in silence, holding back the slow damage of age. I remember one patient, Samuel, who embraced this ritual. He came back months later with a brightness in his face I hadn't seen before. "Doctor," he said, "I feel like my body finally woke up. My nights are calmer, my mornings stronger, and intimacy has returned in a way I thought was gone forever." That is not coincidence. That is the quiet strength of these compounds working together, hidden in the richness of red wine. But here is the real key. It's not just what is inside the wine that matters. It's how and when you use it that decides whether it becomes medicine or just another drink. And that's the truth we'll uncover next. How one glass before bed boosts erections, energy, and sleep. The evening is quiet. The noise of the day has faded. You pour yourself a single glass of red wine, not a heavy pour, not indulgence, just one measured glass. You take a slow sip, and what feels like a small pleasure begins to unfold into something far more powerful. Inside your body, changes start almost immediately. Your arteries begin to relax, opening wider, allowing blood to flow more freely. Circulation that once struggled against stiff, aging vessels now moves with ease, reaching every part of you, including the one place where it matters most for confidence as a man. At the same time, cortisol, the stress hormone that built up all day, begins to sink. Your nervous system quiets, your heartbeat steadies, and your mind eases into calm. This is not just relaxation of mood. It is a physiological reset, preparing both your body and mind for intimacy and for rest. Then, as the night deepens, resveratrol continues its silent work. It stimulates nitric oxide, helping blood vessels stay open. It supports melatonin, guiding you into deeper sleep cycles. And it protects testosterone, allowing levels to rise while you rest. The result is not just hours in bed, but true recovery, sleep that heals, restores, and rebuilds by morning. The difference is unmistakable. You don't just wake with stronger erections, you wake with energy, focus, and a sense of life you thought was fading. One patient, a 70-year-old named Lawrence, told me, "Doctor, I started with one glass at night, and within weeks I wasn't just better in the bedroom. I felt sharper, happier, more alive in every part of my day." That is the hidden beauty of this ritual. The benefits reach far beyond intimacy. They touch every layer of your life, your sleep, your energy, your confidence. But here's the truth I must stress. What heals in the right amount can harm in excess. And that's the danger we must face next. The surprising effect on sleep and energy. I remember a man named Martin, 72, a retired truck driver. When he first came into my clinic, his eyes were heavy, his shoulders slumped. He sighed and said, "Doc, I'm tired all the time. I can't sleep through the night. I wake up 3, 4 times, and in the morning I feel like I haven't rested at all." Gentlemen, this is one of the most overlooked reasons older men lose their strength: poor sleep. Without deep, restorative sleep, the body cannot repair itself. Muscles don't recover, memory fades, testosterone never rises high enough, and energy is drained before the day even begins. Sleep is not a luxury, it is the foundation of vitality. Here's where red wine plays a surprising role. Taken wisely, a single glass before bed helps calm the nervous system. Stress hormones like cortisol fall. The mind that once raced at night begins to settle. And then resveratrol quietly supports the release of melatonin, the hormone that governs your sleep cycle. The result isn't just more hours in bed, it's deeper cycles of true recovery. That's why so many men discover benefits that go far beyond intimacy. When sleep improves, testosterone rises overnight. Energy comes back in the morning, the fog in the mind lifts. The body feels younger, sharper, more alive. Martin returned to me after a few months of adopting this ritual. His face looked brighter, his voice carried strength. He said, "Doctor, I thought my only problem was in the bedroom, but now I wake up ready. I've got energy to enjoy my days again. My wife says I laugh more, even walk lighter." That's the hidden effect. One glass doesn't just help erections. It restores the nights that fuel your days, giving you back the life force age tried to take away. But here's the warning I must give you. What heals at the right dose can hurt at the wrong one. The very same glass that restores can destroy if you cross the line. And that's exactly the danger we must face next. The hidden risks if you drink too much. I remember a patient named Victor, 71, a retired postal worker. When he first came to see me after hearing my advice, he was almost glowing. "Doc," he said, "I've been taking that glass of wine before bed and it feels like magic. I'm sleeping deeper, my energy is back, even my wife noticed the difference." But then his expression changed. He leaned closer and confessed, "But here's the thing, one glass felt so good, I figured three would work even faster. More has to mean better, right?" Within a matter of weeks, everything he had gained began to collapse. Instead of peaceful sleep, he tossed and turned again. Instead of waking rested, he woke groggy and heavy, dragging through his mornings. His erections, which had shown signs of life, grew weaker than before. His energy drained away, his confidence slipped. What had started as medicine had quietly turned into poison. Gentlemen, this is the hard truth about alcohol. The line between healing and harm is razor thin. One glass, just 5 ounces, sipped slowly and with intention, can relax stiff arteries, coax blood flow, lower cortisol, calm the nervous system, and restore sleep. But cross that line and the very same drink reverses its role. Too much alcohol injures the delicate lining of your blood vessels, suppresses nitric oxide, drives testosterone lower, and fragments your sleep cycles. Instead of the deep, restorative rest your body craves, you end up in shallow, broken sleep. Instead of intimacy returning naturally, it disappears again. I warn my patients the same way I'm warning you now. You would never double or triple your prescription pills hoping for faster results. You wouldn't swallow a bottle of vitamins in one night thinking it would rebuild your body in an instant. Red wine must be treated with that same respect. Used correctly, it is a tool. Used carelessly, it is a trap. Victor learned the lesson in the hardest way. He admitted, almost ashamed, "Doc, I thought more meant better, but I found out the hard way more meant worse. One glass gave me my life back. 3 glasses nearly stole it again." That is why I always emphasize discipline. Respect the ritual, respect the dose. Moderation is not weakness, it is wisdom. Because one glass is medicine, but more than that becomes poison. Gentlemen, once you understand that boundary, you're ready for the final truth. Because when practiced correctly, with respect and intention, this ritual becomes more than just a drink. It becomes a nightly act of restoration. A reminder that even after 60, you still hold power over your vitality, your intimacy, and your future. The nightly ritual for men over 60. The evening has slowed, the world outside your window grows quiet. You set aside the noise of the day, the bills, the worries, the aches in your back, and you pour yourself a single glass of red wine, not indulgent, not rushed, not careless. Just one measured glass, about 5 ounces, chosen with intention. You sit, you breathe, you sip slowly. And in that moment, something profound is happening, not just in your body, but in your spirit. Because this ritual is not about drinking to forget. It is about drinking to remember who you are. When you choose a quality wine, a Pinot Noir, a Malbec, or a Cabernet Sauvignon, you are choosing resveratrol, flavonoids, and polyphenols that your body craves. Taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed, you give your arteries time to relax, your cortisol time to fall, and your mind the chance to release the tension of the day. You avoid pairing it with sugary desserts because you want every drop of benefit absorbed. And as you finish that glass, you know it is not excess. It is medicine, carefully measured, deliberately respected. For so many men I've guided, this ritual became more than chemistry. It became a signal. A signal to the body, rest now, rebuild now. A signal to the heart, you are still alive, still capable, still strong. And a signal to the spirit, you are not broken. You are not finished, you are still a man. I remember Lawrence, 70, who once feared his intimacy was gone forever. After adopting this ritual, he returned with a smile that spoke louder than words. "Doc," he said, "my mornings are brighter. My energy has returned, and my wife tells me I walk taller, not just because of intimacy, but because I feel like myself again." That is the deeper gift of the ritual. It is not only about erections. It is about waking with purpose, laughing with ease, feeling energy in your steps, sharing closeness with your partner without anxiety. It is about adding life to your years, not just years to your life. Gentlemen, this nightly ritual is not superstition. It is not wishful thinking. It is the merging of science and wisdom, a habit that restores circulation, sleep, hormones, and hope. And yet remember this, even the best ritual fails if done carelessly. One glass heals. More than that harms. Respect the boundary. Honor the discipline. Let the ritual serve you, not enslave you. Because in the end, this is not just about red wine. It is about reclaiming your power as a man over 60. It is about proving to yourself each night that decline is not destiny and tomorrow can be brighter than today. So tonight, when you pour that glass, let it be more than a drink. Let it be a promise to your body, to your spirit, to the years still ahead. A promise that you will live with strength, with intimacy, and with dignity. Gentlemen, we've walked a long road together tonight. We began by facing the hard truth. After 60, erections weaken. Not because you've lost your desire, but because time stiffens your blood vessels, weakens the smooth muscle that holds blood in, and slowly lowers your testosterone. We uncovered the hidden engine of it all, nitric oxide, the tiny messenger that makes blood flow possible. And we learned how age silences that signal, leaving so many men thinking they are broken when in reality they are simply running low on fuel. We looked deeper into the secrets inside red wine. Resveratrol, flavonoids, polyphenols, natural compounds that relax arteries, protect the heart, sharpen the brain, balance sleep, and quietly raise testosterone. We saw how one glass before bed does far more than ease intimacy. It calms the nervous system, deepens sleep, restores energy, and brings back confidence. But we also faced the warning, more is not better. One glass heals, too much destroys. Moderation is not weakness, it is wisdom. Respect the ritual and it rewards you, abuse it and it punishes you. And finally, we ended with the truth every man deserves to hear. This ritual is more than a drink. It is a nightly act of remembrance that you are still alive, still capable, still strong. That your best years are not behind you, but still within reach. Gentlemen, aging does not mean surrender. It means learning how to work with your body in a wiser way. Tonight, when you pour that glass, don't just see wine, see possibility, see a chance to sleep deeper, rise stronger, and love more fully. Now I want to speak to you directly. If this message resonated with you, take one simple step, hit that like button. Because every like tells the algorithm that men's health matters. That the voices of men over 60 should not be buried in silence. And in the comments, I want to hear from you. Did you feel this message? Are you willing to try this ritual? Type YES if you're ready, type no if you're not, and tell me why. Your story may be the very one that gives another man the courage to try. Finally, share this video with a friend, a brother, a father who might need it. Because together, we are not just restoring strength, we are building a community of men who refuse to accept decline as destiny. Gentlemen, thank you for walking this journey with me. May tonight bring you peace, may tomorrow bring you strength, and may the years ahead remind you, you are not finished. You are not broken, you are still a man.